Welcome into Let's Talk Shop. My name is Steve. In our last episode, we reinstalled the original headliner, which, when it came down to tensioning it, developed a tear. We ordered a brand new one. Today, we're going to install that brand new one, check the fit and the quality. Now, early on in this video, I've got an issue with what I've received versus what was advertised on eBay. But keep watching. You'll quickly find out that this headliner is the star of this episode. So go brew yourself a cup of joe or pop open a cold one and let's talk shop. New headliner has arrived. Got it from eBay seller Go Liners, and the return address says headliner marked, Keller, Texas. One big rectangle.
You have plenty of new fabric here for the headliner, but as you can see, the original piece has some seams that were sewn into it. It's seamed in this fashion to make a particular shape.
So the original headliner has like this little add-on piece. This piece here has a stitched section, probably to accommodate a bend. There's this little flap here, and then there's that stitched part there. So that little stitched part there accommodates another fold. These go down the door jamb. Am I supposed to sew that on by myself? A place called Headliner Mart. They're the expert. I expect them to have that shit already done, especially when it's advertised as made from exact factory pattern for perfect fit. We've talked about it over email. He's modified his description on eBay because it's clearly not cut from a factory pattern. It's just a giant rectangle. Essentially said that's the pattern that we have for a Mazda RX3. So what I'm going to do is take this giant rectangle and just put it in the car and then trim it at all the little points where it needs to be trimmed. Okay, I've reviewed my how it came apart footage, and from rear to front it goes black, green, green, pink. Now I'm discovering the bow pockets are too big, so I'm gonna have to trim those. The liner is 62 inch wide, 62 inches, half is 31, there's the middle. Okay, good to know. Now, let's take a look at the original pockets. Original pockets were, so I want 36 3/4 total length. Half of 36 3/4. 18.375. Okay, there's the middle. That means I need a snip here and here. Snippage I would have loved for this to have just been perfect to start with. Now, this is my second go around on this, and I recall that these tangs here go on the left side of the car. That's how they came off. So the two green rods go in pockets that are 36.5 inches wide. And these should be identical because they're both green rods. 36.5, yep. 18.25 from the center line. 18.25 right there. Snipping right there. Right there. measure this one out. 18.25 right there. 18.25. Okay, snippage. Now, this last one has a bow pocket of 34 inches. That's easy. Half of that is 17. Now I want 17 inches from center line will be my bow pocket. This one's real close. There's that. There's that. Here we go. Okay. Rods are in. Let's put her in the car. Let's get the giant rectangle in place. Oh yeah. I remember now. Nubbin and tang. Tang on the left. It's got to rotate too. So that's the hard part. The hard part is getting the tang, in the case of the rear one, it's black, to rotate, or let me say the bent part of the rod to rotate down into the tang. There's a tang there for the first green, tang there for the second green, and a tang there for the pink. On this side of the car are also tangs, but there's little receptacles. Like those guys. That little receptacle there. There we go. Just kind of rotate it into its spot like that. Sweet. Next. Line it up with the tang. Rotate it with your curved plier. In you go. Okay, here we go. Get the tang on the right. Up into the vicinity of the tang on the left. There we go. So, yeah, these are popping into those tangs really well. That's what it looks like once it's in and seated. So now we're going to do the front one. That's the pink rod. Hard as guys on the message boards for Mazda RX3s, they've said that that's a bitch from hell. And I just pounded it out in a few minutes. It was good. So, notice that the front edge does not have any kind of a molding. The original front edge, actually this is the rear edge, has a hard plastic molded channel, and this tucks into this edge here. And what they've supplied instead of that is pinch weld, and they are saying that that's gonna be just fine. We're gonna see if that's true or not right now. I don't think it matters if I start in the front or in the back. Starting from the front would be okay. I just gotta, remember that I've got my cable hanging. Okay, first, how long of a piece of pinch weld do we need? The original piece that's sewn into the headliner is about 41 and a half. Little curvature there, so 41 and a half. How does that relate to the ridge? 41, but see, it bows out. So yeah, I believe 41 and a half. What I'm going to do is cut it to 42. That'll give me a little bit of leeway. Can't even imagine doing this with the windshield in the car. Absolutely not worth it just to take it out. So let's take a substantial amount of force. I'm pretty sure that one would not have enough leverage to do this with the windshield in the car. Gotta have the windscreen out, just my opinion. If you want to try it, yeah, let me know how that worked out. Yeah, comment section down below if you've done that. I want to hear about it. So the pinch weld is a tight fit on that lip, and then you add 2 layers of this fabric in, then it really becomes difficult to get on there. With the front strip on, that'll give me a foundation to tug on while I place the sides and the rear. So on the front, finding the visor holes, that's easy. You can just feel. There's where a visor goes. And I can feel where the screw holes are. As far as the mirror goes, that's right up here. There's a fastened seatbelt light that goes up here. It's right in the middle, so I can feel where all that stuff is. Now, on the side, let's talk about the sides. There's a coat hanger that goes here. That's going to be tough to find afterwards. And I'm not sure what goes in to that hole and that hole off to the far left. Probably a seatbelt related thing. But what I'm going to do is mark those locations on the outside of the car so that I can find them after I've wrapped, headliner. I know where to find those to make the holes for them. That's going to be key. This hole here is the coat hanger hole. So I'm going to come straight down. And out. And I'm going to mark that right there. Okay, that's where that goes. Okay, though, so that big hole that I just called a coat hanger, wrong. Seatbelt. Coat hanger is probably that smaller hole. That second smaller hole, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at my disassembly video, figure that out. Let me get back to you on that. But either way, gotta mark the hole. So, there's that one. Okay, on the other side, there's the large seatbelt hole there. Alright, seatbelt, coat hanger. So I've got a bag of binder clips like so. What I want to do is just get this headliner in place before I, do final stretchings. So if I can just clip it into place first, and little by little I'll stretch it tighter.
So today is the day I've been dreading. It's time to make relief cuts in the extra fabric here. That's why a factory trimmed up piece would have been ideal when I had to make cuts. But the whole idea is that, each headliner is going to stretch a little bit and you need to pull it tight. So got the scissors and just dreading snipping. They say measure twice or thrice and cut once, but what can you measure here? I know where it's going to go roughly, and then by the time I pull clips and start, putting tension on each side to remove wrinkles, how much is it going to move? That's why I'm nervous to be all snipping, but that's what I'm going to do today, so here we go. Okay, so relief cuts. I'm going to have to make one right here. Question of the day. Where to make the relief cut? Got any upholstery shop guys out there? Where do you do it? It's kind of just, you scope it. Where is it kinking? Okay. Let's see what that looks like on this side. Need to slice here too. Or here. Take a chunk out of there. Okay, so for now, I want to snip this backside. Now a pinch weld goes right here. So I need enough to flap over and be secured. So, and it looks like I need to come up with my pinch weld for these sides. I have OEM pinch weld for that. Got some OEM pinch weld here. It's the one that came off the car. And I'm going to install it loosely here in areas that I want to remove the clips but have the headliner stay put. So, let's put this on here. It's relief cut business. It's a delicate thing. It's really the only thing that's got me nervous on this whole project. Leaving enough fabric here. I want to be able to pull and tug. That's a luxury I would not have had with the original, but with all this extra fabric, I can pull tight. It's a hot day, so I'm getting sweat all over this damn thing. Gonna remove clips, pull taut, replace clips. I'm getting a crease here. Getting a crease means I need another relief cut. There's a corner right here. The relief cut coming up here to the corner. I want to cut it in a manner such that I'll have material on both sides of this guy here. More pinch weld goes around there and I'll glue it. So by coming at an angle, I can sort that out later. There we go. And that gives me material to pull on to help tighten that. And this guy needs a cut here. I kind of look and see where the creases are happening, and you can eliminate a wrinkle by cutting in a certain spot. can't get too far ahead on the passenger side without doing the equal thing on the driver's side. Don't get too carried away here. You can't uncut it. So I put in OEM pinch weld that I restored here. I need a relief cut here and here. And then I can do some more tensioning of the new headliner. So, relief cuts coming. Careful, won't go too far. Careful. Now just a heads up, I'm relief cutting over here because I know I've got a black panel that goes here. Maybe I should get that out and find out how high up it goes. I don't want to slice too high. That would be bad. Okay, so let's get some relief cuts in this rear piece here. Now I'm going to come at an angle so there's no way that I impinge on material that I need for back here. So let's do that at this angle here. Now, I gotta leave enough for the pinch weld to be able to wrap around that, right? So, I don't want to go too far into the corner with it. Not just yet. Now let's take a look at this side. Okay. And relief cut this way here. Pretty much just firm it up all the way around a couple of times. That's what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll extend a relief cut. Sometimes I'll just carry on. I need more clips. Más clipitos, por favor. Gonna steal one from over here. Okay, looks good. All right, here's the OEM interior sail trim. It's going to end up going right there. It's going to look nice. I am pretty happy about this new headliner. So the trim piece will go up in here. This corner goes there. So it'll fit. Look at that. I cut this relief cut too high. Genius! But that's what I'm talking about. You know, when it comes time to pull out the scissors and do relief cuts, where do you go? And over here, I went 2 centimeters too high. Not good, not good. Okay, here's a detail I'm going to sort out right now. The front pinch weld needs to be the right length, and it is on the driver's side. The reason this is important is because a molding goes here. Remember the A-pillar piece goes right here. So those two can't be bumping into each other. So I'm going to sort this out now because over here it's too long I did that on purpose so that I had enough to play with. But now that I'm getting close to needing to glue stuff, I'm cutting that to length. Gray on black pen. Can't see it. A-pillar trim now fits. Got the piece of pinch weld here, original piece that I prettied up. It's all wet now because I'm sweating. It's a nice hot 85 degree Southern California day. So it's warm. It's going to be problematic on these tight corners. So I've just got to play with it until it's at a point where I'm happy with it. That's it, really. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I like it better than it is. Remember, everything's curved here, right? So it all wants to be flat, but it can't be when everything's curved. So what do? More relief cuts. That's what you do. Did I say already that I can't imagine doing this with the glass in the car? Yeah. You're fucked. Yeah, the hard plastic molding, the pinch weld, it's not keen on turning the corner. It does it, it's just not interested. So, one thing I want to talk about is this pinch weld they give you for the front and rear. It is for the front and rear to replace the hard plastic that came on the OEM one. You do need to keep your old ones that go around the door frame. So, keep track of those. You need them. Alright, let's cut the A-pillar pieces. Let's cut the A-pillar piece. Now, on the original, it was snipped like right below this screw hole, which is right here. So, I could go anywhere from there down. Now there's an A-pillar trim that goes here. So, I don't even have to snip it. I could just leave it. But I'm going to snip it right about here. Alright, let's do the other side. There's that screw hole for the A-pillar trim. So anywhere below that, really. We'll go right about here. Right about there. A-pillar trim going back on. Now back in episode 25, we covered these pieces with Black Wow and also Mother's Back to Black. The little contest was won by Black Wow. I'll put a link up there in the corner if you want to watch that episode. All right, left side first. That's an L. There's an L on there. Easy. There's my screw hole down there. For the bottom one, that's the one that you want to put in first, specific to a Mazda RX3. Then I want to pull this piece tight. Create a hole. A little sharp pointy guy here. There we go. Here's our hole. Okay, that piece is in. And now this pinch weld fits in the very bottom lip of this A-pillar trim. So that's part of the install. I do have a choice now on these B-pillar pieces. It goes all the way up, you know, it hangs down quite a bit. I could leave it that way. The corners occurred okay. There's a little wrinkle going on, so part of removing that wrinkle will be going more like the OEM. So on the OEM headliner, it only came down like, 3 centimeters, maybe 1.5 inches. And then there was the second piece sewn in, or glued in, whatever they did there. I think it was glued in. So what I can do is a similar thing. Now by putting it way up top here, that helps me get rid of some of those creases, plus it puts the seam, way up and out of people's line of sight. Whereas if I put a seam down here, it would be more visible. Now, one thing I gotta say is I never noticed that the original had a seam there. So it's pretty much out of sight and, a fine detail that I never even noticed. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna cut it somewhere up here and then have that strip come all the way down. And that'll be more like original. And we'll hopefully get rid of some of those creases right there. Let's give that a go. They give you plenty of extra fabric, and I'm about to make the B-pillar piece. So by peeling off the old piece, which is glued, we can...
Well, that just popped right off.
Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Alright, then that gives us our boom pattern. And again, they give you a ton of fabric. First of all, there's this giant rectangle where the rear window is that you've got extra. Plus, you have extra inside the package that you get from the headliner company. So, there's no shortage of fabric. So if you mess something up, you can do it again. We cut a couple of strips for the B-pillar based on the original piece. I made it a little bigger and we'll trim it up later. So let's get that put in. So once I apply the adhesive here, this needs to already be there. And it should be noted that this piece will tuck under the top piece. Right where I have this relief cut already might be the ideal spot to trim that. Let's see how this fits in. Now I'm going to fit this in. I'm going to tuck it up. Now the other piece glued on the OEM piece, I'm just going to tuck it up in there and then pinch weld to the B-pillar. And then we trim it up later. Right side of the car. Okay, here's our piece. That's where I want to cut. Right there. Tucking under. You mother tucker.
Wow.
So the way that this pinch weld keeps coming off, that tells me the very next thing to do is to apply adhesive. I've got my choices here. Got the high strength 3M90 that I used while putting the underlay on the ceiling. The 3M high strength 90 spray adhesive, that will be messy. It's a spray. I've seen other guys use contact cement, and when I pulled off the original headliner, there was a gummy removable adhesive. So it wasn't hard to get off. It came off pretty easy, especially when I applied a heat gun. So I want a similar thing, and contact cement will be like a forever deal. So I bought this tack it over and over. I'm going to do a test section in the rear and find out if this is even an option. So I've done this test piece in the rear corner of the glass here. I've got a tiny little piece of pinch weld holding a small section that I did as a test. Let's see. It's actually holding it pretty strong. So it does come out without a mess. I'm thinking that might be a good thing. So maybe I'm going to try that. Again, with nothing, this comes off way too easy. It's got to have a cement on there or some kind of a tacky something. So I'm looking at this crease right here. I want to apply my stuff right there. So we're going to see how this works. I'm going to apply this. I'm going to put the pinch weld on, and then I'm going to check it after it sets and see how that goes. Ideally, I want it on both surfaces. Putting some in this little bead here. Yeah. Except I'm squeezing up and not down. Makes it a little difficult. See how it's not staying? Pinch weld does not want to stay. I need a leverage that I can't get from where I was. I can't even imagine trying this with the glass in the car. Are you kidding? No! Come on! The neighbor's cat is all over my car. Sweetheart, no! Look, I love cats, but no! So it keeps kind of creeping out of the slot that it goes in. So I've got a putty knife with a rounded edge, and I'm going to help encourage that back in. 3 minutes ago, I did not have a putty knife with a rounded edge. And that's going to help you get that in the slot better. All the way in there. This is the difference between tucked in all the way and still sticking out a little bit. This is just barely holding in. This one's tucked in all the way. So I'm going to go all the way along and get it tucked in all the way. There's the neighbor's cat, helping himself to the comforts of a Mazda RX3. Get a nice bead going on here. Give it a nice tug in. Wrap up. It seems to be working pretty good. So I'm applying it to the top here, and then it will smear and apply
to the underside, or I guess I should say the outer side. And next piece is this flap. So keeping in mind that the holding strength here is in the pinch weld, not the adhesive. And that's why it's perfectly okay to have an easily removable adhesive here. Okay. Nice and tight. Wrap it up and get the pinch weld in. Make sure I've got good tension. I do. Alright, let's tack the back. Tack the back. While I'm working here, I want to mention that my son has an album out, or an EP, I guess you call it. 4 songs. He goes by Paris G. The album's called Polarity. And you should check it. It's EDM. The genre is electronic house dance. So if you're into that, you should check it. Even if you aren't into that, you should check it. It's my son. This is the mirror base plate and some freshly plated screws that attach it to the ceiling. I'm also going to make a hole for the dome light. There's also a fasten seatbelt light that's already up there. I just got to make the hole for it. The mirror is not ready to go in the car. It needs to be prettied up and restored, so that we will wait for later. But we'll put the base plate in now, the dome light, and all the little screws that are going to attach things like the coat hook, stuff like that, seat belt bolts. I've got bolts that attach the seat belt shoulder strap to the ceiling, and we're going to make those holes now. So the instruments I have here are something blunt that's not going to poke through. I can just feel around, and then something sharp that I will poke through with after I've found the right spot. So feeling around for a mount for the mirror. So one of the helpful things is my prior videos showing the removal of these items. I know they're here in the middle, obviously, but to know what the shape was when it all came out is real helpful. There's a mounting hole. Right there, that's a mounting hole. There's a screw hole, and then the square right here. There's a second screw hole. Okay. So I clearly have the square right here.
You know where this square here is? It's right here. Feeling good about it. See how it has a wider side and a narrower side? Which way does that go? It goes with the wider side towards the front. Okay, so there's, we'll go that way. All right, fasten seatbelt light goes right here. Here's the square. The mounting holes are to the left and right. These mounting holes were front to back. So I know this is the rectangle. I'm gonna make a slit in the middle of the rectangle. Both directions. Widen it up with the scissor. Way to go, genius. It's disconnected. Well, let me get everything wired. I'll fix that later on the bench. For now, that is where the fasten seatbelt goes. The holes are there. And I'm just going to disconnect this now and take it to the bench and deal with that later. Let's do visors. Taking this gentle now. I don't want to break the plastic base. Just want to snug them. Easy to find the hole for the visor. Making an X. Now the screw holes. There's one, I can feel it, easy. Other screw hole. There it is. Again, easy to feel. Okay, dome light. Should be pretty easy. There we go. There's the square for the dome light. Screw holes are one on front and back actually. Ooh, there's a screw hole there. Now the other screw hole, the cable is in the way. So well, let's cut the hole. Making an X here. The cable's right there. I gotta not slice the cable. If I use the scissor, I can be pretty sure I'm not gonna injure the cable. Make my X. X marks the spot. Now the cable should come through here. Let's see, front screw hole. Right there. Feel it. Plugging it in. It's just this one plug. There is an extra spade here, and I'm thinking this same dome may have been used for other models that maybe had an on switch you could activate from the dash, maybe a luxury version of this car, or a Mazda RX3, or the Cosmo, something. Well, that one started nice. The mirrors didn't start that simple. Sweet! Now, of course, there's no battery in the car, so it's not going to work right now. But we did test it off the bench, and it worked. All right, dome light handled. Next, there's seat belt mounting up here, and there's the garment hook. Those are next. Got a picture here showing the bolt just a couple inches in. Seat belt bolt right there. I don't have my seat belts ready right now, but I'm making the hole. Seatbelt bolt is large. Okay. There is my seatbelt hanger for the shoulder strap that comes down over the driver's seat. These marks I made on the outside. We've got the bolt, and now we're going to move on to the coat hook screw. That's this one. There it is. the right side of the car. There it is. That's easy to feel because it's large. Upsize. Slit, making it bigger. So that'll be a securing anchor for the seatbelt. Now, here's your garment hook hole. Second garment hook. There we go. 2 garment hooks.
I don't actually want to install these C-pillar trims yet until I trim the fabric, so that's next.
Here goes trimming the extra fabric. Tapping in with a blade. Right inside the seam here, a little bit more. It's fairly easy to cut with a sharp blade. Working out good. Now, I do need to finish trimming this piece of pinch weld. So I'm going to have to say this liner is fitting pretty good. The quality is good. The fit is good. Initial reaction to opening the box, mine was a little bit off because of the way it had been described. And then I gotta say, you know, Headliner Mart or Go Liners on eBay, they refunded my money and have therefore made a substantial contribution to this show. These are all the people or organizations that have contributed to our show in one way or another. Whether it be parts donation, Patreon, showing up to actually work on the car. That happens too. That's the only spot where I cut too far in on a relief cut. So for that, I've got some fabric I can tuck behind it, and that's what I'm going to do. Got some extra fabric here. I'm going to slice off a small section. The headliner is in the car. Got visors in. The mirror I'm not ready to put in yet. And the fasten seat belt light isn't ready to go in yet. I do have the dome light in, the garment hook. I got a placeholder bolt there where the seat belts bolt in. And the headliner itself fits pretty good. Pretty happy with what I got from Go Liners and Headliner Mart in Texas.
Coming up next, we restore our original marker lamps. Peace out, brother.
God! Whoa. That's like a half of a clamp. One broken clamp in that brand new bag. Okay, well, whatever. Whatever. SD card full my ass. my ass is full. Okay, we gotta do some maintenance on cameras.
120 frames per second? No, I don't think so.